Merry meet and welcome to Psalmic Saturday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. Moderating today on YouTube is the lovely Shirley, and moderating on Twitch is the lovely Dre. Thank you so much, Shirley, and thank you so much, Dre. And thank you to everybody for joining us today for this Psalmic Saturday. I'm super excited to be here with you. We do have a brand new course for those of you interested on the Arbitel of Magic, and you can find that by going to arielgatoga.com/arbitel-of-magic. Arbitel is spelled ARBATEL. And you can also find links on all my social media. And because of that, yesterday last week we had a little issue where we had to cancel all of our streams just because they were redoing my parking lot and it was too noisy. And boy, it does look beautiful, so it was worth it. I was going to try to do a psalm spell yesterday just on my own that we could have a premiere today, but the launching of the new course took longer than I expected, so I didn't have time for that. So we don't have a premiere today. Sorry about that. But we will get back to our normal premiere schedule starting next week. Let's see, we are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch, like I said, and each of those have their own chat threads. So please chat amongst yourselves to your heart's content. And if you have any questions for me, you can put them right in the chat thread. And since we don't have a premiere, we probably won't run out of time today. We have a shop at arielscornershop.com. arielscornershop.com, and all of the different psalm books that I use are listed in there. We do make a small commission off of each and every one of those sales, so we appreciate your support. Another way to support us is through donations, and you can give a donation through our PayPal portal at paypal.me/arielgatoga. paypal.me/arielgatoga. If you're watching live on YouTube, you could also use a super sticker or super chat or a super thanks if you happen to be watching on a restream. We appreciate your support. And let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Oh yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. And if you're watching on Twitch, follow us. You can watch on Twitch without ads by subscribing to us. All right, I think that does it for all my little announcements. We can get going right now with our psalm spell. Today we are working on Psalm 39. Psalm 39 is often used for courage to confront any problem head on, for peace of mind, to reveal false testimony and lies, and to bring a judge around to your side of the case, should you be in a legal proceeding. Today we are going to use Psalm 39 for peace of mind. And you know, peace of mind is such an important thing. A lot of times we think, oh, well, peace of mind. But peace of mind really is everything. And when we can have peace of mind, when we can have peace in our mind, we are in that place of pure potential where everything that could possibly be good for us is available to us. The way we work psalm spells are very simple. The way we work psalm magic is very simple. We take the psalm in question and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. This recitation is often referred to as an incantation. Once we're finished with that incantation, we go back through that psalm and we consider each verse in turn, and we search for hidden occult meanings that are inherent within each verse. And as we search and dig for those occult meanings, which we refer to as magical seeds, that process of searching and digging and also applying what we find there to the situation at hand, through that process, we take those magic seeds and plant them deeply in the fertile grounds of our minds, where they, in a very real sense, take root, grow, blossom forth, and then bear fruit after their kind. And that is what we are going to do together right now. Every time I forget to turn off the rosary music. That's what we are going to do. Okay, let's just take this whole shot so I don't have to edit too much. And that's what we're going to do right now with Psalm 39. I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle, while the wicked is before me. I was dumb with silence, I held my peace even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me, while I was musing the fire burned. Then I spake with my tongue. Lord, make me to know mine end, and the measure of my days what it is, that I may know how frail I am. Behold, thou hast made my days as an hand's breadth, and mine age as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. Selah. Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heapeth up riches, and knoweth not who shall gather them. And now, Lord, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb, I opened my mouth, because thou didst it. Remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thine hand. When thou with rebukes dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Selah. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears. For I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner, as all my fathers were. O spare me that I may recover strength before I go hence and be no more. So this is a very depressing psalm. This is the psalm that is all about the transience of human life. And it's important to understand that that's why we suffer from not having the peace of mind that we desire, because we look to our lives and everything which is transient in this world, and we see that everything dies and everything is temporary here. And because of that, we are at our very core oftentimes depressed, upset, tense, scared. And as we go through this psalm now, it's important for us to recognize that peace of mind is not dependent on the transient things of this world. Peace of mind brings us into a different world where everything is eternal and everything is perfect. So it starts out, usually it starts out with some sort of invocation or petition to infinite intelligence. It's now starting out more with a reflection. It says, I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. So this is when we make a choice not to air our grievances, not to complain, not to open our mouths and just reinforce the reasons why we're not peaceful. We are making a vow that we aren't going to misuse or even use our mouths. This is like instead of fasting from food, we are determined to fast from words for a while. I will keep my mouth with a bridle while the wicked is before me. So no matter what's going on around us, no matter how bad it is, we're not going to acknowledge it with our words. We're not even going to make it real in any way. I was dumb with silence. I held my peace even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. Very frequently, when we decide to withdraw our speech and give our speech a rest, we start to see things for what they are. And we have to go through, before we get to that sense of peace, we have to go through these, what A Course in Miracles calls ring of fear. We have to get through all of that nonsense that is around us, that is that illusion that keeps us from our peace. And a lot of times we don't even recognize that those things are there. But when we decide to keep silent, and this can be both literally and figuratively, when we no longer excuse things, we no longer are involved, even just for a few moments at a time, with the things of this world, when we just recognize them for what they are and we keep our mouths shut and we don't participate in it, it's not like you do that and then all of a sudden everything's cool. You do that and then you all of a sudden notice how horrible everything is. And it really brings it up for you. And in this case, the not speaking is similar to what we say, that love brings up everything unlike itself so that you can heal. What you're doing with this not speaking in here is, instead of participating and giving almost like a joining in with what's going on in the world to distract you from what's going on in the world, when you take a step back and you start observing it, at first it seems to make things worse, not better, because you're seeing things for what they really are. And once you see things for what they are, you're very disillusioned. And when you get disillusioned, that's ultimately a good thing, but while you're going through it, it can really sting. It can really be depressing, and it stirs your sorrow. My heart was hot within me. While I was musing, the fire burned. Then I spake with my tongue. And so eventually, when you get through that and you start really getting involved in what the truth is behind the illusion, then you can start to speak. Then your words have some meaning. Now, again, here, sometimes speaking is not literal. When we say speaking, it means interacting with. Once you recognize how transient this world is and how sort of evil this world is, by pulling back from it and observing it, then when you go back into it and you start interacting with it, you have a different sense of what you're dealing with. Lord, make me to know mine end and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. So we're asking infinite intelligence here to remind us that this world is temporary, and that what we consider important here is not, and that what we do here doesn't have much effect on anything true unless we are interacting with the truth behind the illusions. But a lot of times what we do, actually most of the time what we do here, is we play games with illusions, and a lot of what we think is important is just a time waster. And then we look back on our very short life, basically, and we think, what did I do with my life? What was all this for? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything but play around with illusions. So we want to know that now so that we stop that. And that is actually what brings us the peace of mind that we're looking for. Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth. So this is a handbreadth. That's how long your life is these 4 fingers. That's what a handbreadth is. Mine age is nothing before thee. Mine age is as nothing before thee. So think of your age, like say you lived until you were 100. That's a pretty nice long lifespan. But compare that to the age of the universe. Right? It's pretty insignificant. And there's nothing about your specific life, even if you're a big deal, even if you're a mover and a shaker, there's really nothing about your mortal life that's that significant when you compare it to infinite intelligence and you compare it to the universe as a whole. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. The best you can come up with in this world of illusion is vanity. right? So that the best thing you can do is be a little less vain than everybody else, is what it's saying here. And that at first is extremely depressing. But once you get beyond that depression, once you get beyond that sorrow, as it calls it, you recognize that there is a world beyond your vanity, where everybody's actually living in a happily ever sort of situation that has nothing to do with the world of transience that we're in here. There is a place at which we don't have vanity, where we don't have separation, where we're not fighting for our survival, where we're not just living for a few years, basically, and then getting sick and dying or being murdered or whatever happens to our mortal existence here. There's another place that's beyond that, where peace is eternal. And we can find that here while we're in this world. Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. Right? So everybody's in the same boat. Nobody's happy. Nobody's peaceful. Not here. Everybody's vain. We live in a world that was created out of vanity. This is not the real world. This is a very bad dream that we're having. And there hasn't been an awakening in the entire history of humanity. Not a mass awakening. You've had little people here and there that probably have awakened. But most of us are quite content being asleep, thinking that things are important that are absolutely nothing but shadows. Fleeting shadows. There's no peace in that. The only way that we can find peace is looking beyond that and understanding that there is another way of seeing things. He heapeth up riches, and knoweth not who shall gather them. So no matter what you think you're about here, I'm going to be a success. I'm going to get money, or I'm going to give to the poor. I'm going to do charitable works. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get married. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to do all of these things which are so good. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's all just nothing, because you're going to die and it will be meaningless and nobody will remember you. That's the basic message of this psalm. And that is something that if you really think about it at first, it's so depressing and so sad until you recognize the humor in it. That behind all of the personality and the storyline and the this and the that, behind all the vanity, you're already alive and well, living in happiness, joy, peace as a soul in a realm that's very different than the world that you see here. Right? So, but you have to go through that stage, that ring of fear, that ring of fire, if you will, of really understanding how meaningless this world is and how upsetting that is, that you live in a world that has absolutely no meaning whatsoever, and that you are preoccupied with meaningless things and meaningless activities and meaningless everything. That should upset you. You want to be upset by that. And then you want to get beyond that upset by realizing that this meaningless world isn't where you live. And that beyond this meaningless world is a world of peace and joy, where you are eternal and you don't die. And everybody is happy. And now, Lord, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. Now, to wait on the Lord in the Psalms means that you have hope, that you have faith, that you know that this world is not real, that nothing is as it seems here, and that you know that beyond this world is something much more that you want, and that's not a place that you go to when you die. It's not a place, it's a new way of thinking. It's a new way of seeing things. It's a new way of being. My hope is in thee. That's once you recognize that infinite intelligence wants you happy, then you'll listen to infinite intelligence's instructions to you on how to get there. And again, it's not a place that you have to go to in space or in time, but in perception. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. The reproach of the foolish is, see, the thing is we're so consumed and preoccupied with this idea of how we interact with everybody else here who don't know anything either. So it's like, well, I hope they like me. I hope they approve of me. I hope that I get, the people that I think are important will give to me or do for me. And those people aren't so important, so who cares what they think of me? And those kinds of thoughts about this sort of like hierarchy of whose opinion of you matters and whose opinion of you doesn't matter. Even those of you who think, oh, well, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. That's not true if you're not in a place of peace. That's not really true. You're lying to yourself. If you're in a place of peace, you don't care what everybody thinks of you because you know that everybody loves you and that you love everybody. Then of course you don't care what they think of you because you know that what they think of you is different than what they might express to you in this world, where they're in a nightmare and they're reacting to illusions and delusions and phantasms of this world, and they're not in their right mind. But in the real world, behind that, in the world that God created, infinite intelligence created, where everybody's an extension of purity and love and truth, everybody loves you and you love everybody and everything is working out perfectly. We're just asleep. We're asleep in that world and having a horrible nightmare here. So when it says, deliver me from all my transgressions, it really means deliver me. My transgressions, meaning my misperceptions of this world. I don't want to make up my mind anymore based on what I think things look like. Because all I have, if it's just me, is what I learned in this world based on my memories, what people taught me, what I taught myself. And if I'm looking only to my own counsel to wake me up from here, I don't have a chance. But luckily for us, we don't have to rely on our own counsel for that because infinite intelligence is always there for us if we decide to ask for it. And so to deliver me from my transgressions simply means to deliver me from the misperceptions of this world that I have that are creating all of these forms that are so bad, that are so scary, that are so depressing, that are so painful, that are so transient, that are so oriented to death. I was dumb. I opened not my mouth because thou didst it. Okay, so when we started out, we were silent. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to open my mouth because I don't want to give any more credence to this unreal world. I'm not going to even play. But then once we get to a certain point, infinite intelligence opens your mouth and and starts speaking through you. Because it's not about finding this peace that we want. It's not about like recognizing the transience of this world and the illusory nature of this world and just turning our back on it or committing suicide or something like that and thinking that we're going to just escape it that way. That's not how it works. It works when everybody wakes up together. And so once you recognize that and you realize that you need infinite intelligence's help, then infinite intelligence works through you to heal everybody around you. And we all wake up together. And that's when you really start feeling that peace that you want because you're on the right path. You're on the right road. You're doing what you can do here to help. Not because you're deciding how to be a do-gooder, because you're saying, please use me to infinite intelligence. Remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thine hand. You want infinite intelligence to strike you down in that regard, and it won't happen unless you ask for it. But remember, this culture was very dramatic. very dramatic. All that means is I want to be disillusioned from this world. I want you to wipe away these illusions. I want to see the truth instead of this, because I know the truth is peace. I know the truth is joy. I know that everything around here can start to change, to start to reflect the reality of the true world that you created rather than this illusory world that we live in. So I want you to strike it down in front of me, because on the other side of that is absolute bliss, absolute peace. When thou with rebukes dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. But see, what we think is beautiful isn't. What we've defined as pleasure is actually pain in disguise here. We have things so upside down and so messed up that we can't find a way out by ourselves because we're so confused. But when we ask for this kind of help, and infinite intelligence says, okay, let me show you the truth here. To the ego mind that is addicted to all of these things and thinks that all of these things that are actually causing us problems are wonderful, when those things go away, the ego gets really upset. But you want to not confuse your soul with your ego. Because when things go away that upset the ego because infinite intelligence is healing a situation, it's something to celebrate, because that means that you are getting clearer and clearer on the truth. And the truth only brings joy, only brings peace. Maybe not to your ego in the moment, but your ego isn't a real thing. Your ego is the problem. The ego is this belief and habit of thinking in separation from infinite intelligence and creating these weird little worlds that we live in. All these little separate worlds that come together and turn into this awfulness that we have here. It says, surely every man is vanity. That's right. We are all in a dark room watching our own little movie, thinking that we're right, we're right, we're right. And one of the best mantras for being healed is, I want to be wrong. Infinite intelligence, please show me where I'm wrong. I want to be wrong about all of it. I only want to be right about you. And I want you to show me what's right, because obviously everything I have been taught is bad in this world, or I'd have a different experience, because that's Magic 101A. The reason why I'm experiencing the things I'm experiencing in the physical reality is because that's what my mind is projecting. So just me coming up with new things to project all by myself isn't good enough, because I don't know what's going to make me happy. If I knew, I'd already be projecting those things. So you show me, because everything is vanity. Everything. All of us are in vanity. So I want to be helped out of the vanity. So you show me. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear unto my cry. That says that is the smartest thing to do. Hold not thy peace at my tears. Don't be gentle with me. I can take it. You show me. I want to go through it all quickly. I want to get to the other side of this. I don't want to go through the fire slowly, where there's more, where we're just dragging this out. I want it now. I want all of this now. I want to get to the other side of this right now. For I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner as all my fathers were. And that's the problem, being a stranger with infinite intelligence. You weren't meant to be a stranger. That's the ego right there, is make infinite intelligence a stranger. It's only about you. It's all about you and your sojourn. And it's just like it's been with your ancestors and their ancestors and their ancestors. And aren't you bored? Aren't you done? It's kind of the implicit question here. Aren't you done with this? Haven't we proven to ourselves that this isn't the way? Maybe there's another way. Maybe infinite intelligence has this. Oh, spare me that I may recover strength before I go hence and be no more. So this is the idea. A lot of people read that as kind of depressing. So it's like, oh, spare me before I die. That's not the way we take that. Not the way I take that at all. It means turn this dream that we're having into something that's nice, that looks more real, so that when we wake up, it's gently. In other words, this world turns into something fabulous. And then we realize that we don't need this world, that we already live in an amazing world with infinite intelligence and with each other, and that there is no death, and that there is no problem, and there is no pain, and none of that is necessary. You know, we've been taught in this world that you can't have pleasure without some pain, or you wouldn't know what the one is without the other. You'd better have darkness to have light. You can't know what beauty is unless you know what ugly is. None of that's true. Not from infinite intelligence's point of view. And none of that's true. That's a story we all made up a long time ago, and we really dig our heels in, and we want more and more of that here. So what we're saying here when we say, oh, spare me, spare me, oh, spare me, that I may recover my strength before I go hence and be no more. What's going to be no more is not you, it's your ego that will be no more, because you don't need it. You drop it. It's no longer necessary. But before you can get there, you have to go to this place where infinite intelligence starts to project onto the screen of space for you, so that you can start to see what, in the Psalms it calls heaven, what that looks like. It's what people will call heaven on earth. We want heaven on earth here. We want that, because then we realize, oh, well, we've got heaven on earth. Well, why don't we just go to heaven? Why don't we just stop all of this and just live where we're supposed to live? That's peace. And you know, it's not a place that you go. And it's definitely not a place you go when you die. It's an awareness of the fact that you're already one with infinite intelligence and with all the other souls that infinite intelligence created. You're already one, and there is no conflict. There is no opposition. There's nothing but pure love and pure joy and pure light. And it's not boring. That's the other thing. Oh, it sounds really boring to me. Everybody's just up in heaven with, harps. That's not it at all. It's a new way of being where you can accept the perfection of everything. It's a new way of seeing things where you see everything as perfect, and you're not in conflict, and you're not at war, and you don't have those vain thoughts anymore, because you don't need everything to be the way you think it should be, because infinite intelligence is showing you what it actually is. So you just keep coming back to this psalm each and every day, keep finding little nuggets of wisdom in there, and eventually you're going to feel a sense of peace and certainty about whatever the situation is that you brought to the psalm. And when you get that click, you know that your spell has been cast and you can move on to something else. Thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be. Oh, my goodness, that's quite a psalm. It doesn't look like we have any questions, so I appreciate you being here today so very much. And I will be back tomorrow. We will all be back tomorrow with a lecture for Soulful Sunday. And then we're off on Monday. Oh, we do have a question that came here. In asking infinite intelligence to show us where we are wrong, how can we find balance with the knowledge? Well, you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to find anything because you're asking to be shown. You don't have to find balance. Balance is something that is established for you. It's the problem. So we think we have to find balance. We think we have to do this and we have to do that. That's the vanity. We're carrying burdens on our shoulders that we have to establish reality for ourselves. Reality's already been established. And we don't know that because we have been so poorly taught for so many years, for so many aeons here as a species, that for all intents and purposes, we're just lost. But infinite intelligence knows we're not lost. Infinite intelligence knows we're just asleep. So it's not up to you to find balance. It's not up to you to do anything other than accept the truth and ask for the truth and accept the truth as what it is. And that everything is permanently perfect at all moments of time and points of space. And once you can start to realize that, then what you do is you start seeing other people behind their egos. You start seeing the soul that they are. Remember, we can't wake up one by one here. You can't just be all by yourself here and wake up. You have to wake up here by seeing the truth about other people. That's how you do it. You see everybody else, even the ones that are awful by our standards, even the ones that are really horrible in their behavior. You see them as the truth of who they are. And that's what that forgiveness is all about. Forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And when you do that, then you start to allow yourself to see the truth behind the behavior. Once you can see the truth behind the behavior of that one person, that opens things up so that you can see the truth behind the illusions on so many levels. And you just follow it one step at a time as it's given to you. But you don't need to establish the truth. That's the thing that you have to remind yourself constantly is, I don't need to establish the truth. I need to recognize the truth. And the only way to do that is by asking for it. And it's one moment at a time. What do I do in this situation? How do I respond to this? How do I see this? How can I best be of service here? Right? It's one moment at a time. You don't try to think about what's in the future or what the big picture is or any of that, because you're not capable of that, at least not yet. So you just take it right where it's given to you. Whatever your situations are at hand, that is where you need to be. Now, you get a choice as to whether you want to look at that through the eyes of the vanity, which is your ego, or through the eyes of infinite intelligence, which is your soul. And each one shows you a very different world, but you can't have both at the same time. So it's one moment at a time. Very good question. Thank you so very much. And thank you for being here, everybody. We will see you, I hope, tomorrow. Until next. Oh, and thank you to the amazing moderators. Today we had Dre and Shirley, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Blessed be.